Okay, now that I'm losing my voice, let's pause. Questions, comments, arguments, debates, whatever, I welcome it all. On the topic specifically of the research and the findings and methodology. Or have I bored you all to tears? Yes, please. And just tell me your name and where you're coming from, what organization.
My name is Mohammed Mayim, and I'm part of the innovation team in United Bank.
Great, welcome. Sorry, Mohammed, can we give you a microphone? Because we actually are recording this, so it's not Chatham House rules, unfortunately, because your name and your if you don't want anyone on the internet to know who's asking the question, don't say your name.
I've got a few observations and
Great.
And some suggestions, if I may.
Please.
You did not talk about the gamification as a concept in your mobile app. That's, I personally believe, some of the, one of the things that is catching up on how you design your mobile application. Should we talk about everything one by one?
Give me your list, and then because Adam and I will both be responding.
Okay.
So why don't you give me the list, and we'll go down the list.
The other thing that I think we should all discuss is how do you define onboarding? I'm sure different people in this room will have different definition.
Sure.
And for benefit of a better mobile money application, I think we should at least have some brainstorming on how do we define.
Great.
You also did not talk about the app in different local languages.
Coming.
Okay.
But great point.
And the last point that I want to highlight is I'm still new to this discussion, but are you guys going to work with each of player to help them design application for their mobile money scheme, or will you just offer your standard experience, and then we go and explore how do we design our
Understood.
app? I mean, all of us cannot design just one app and start offering through our own brands.
Right.
I'm sure we serve this country, but there are different segments that we serve within our mobile money operations.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mohammed, fantastic questions. Thank you. So let me, I'm going to go not in order, if that's okay. So let me talk about languages first, because that's a really interesting conversation that we will be having. So from the research perspective, all of our interviews with users, and actually mostly with agents as well, were held in Urdu, so all local languages. So Ali and our other researcher, Aisha, Adam and I don't speak Urdu, so we were not super useful during that. But Ali and Aisha conducted all of the interviews and the prototype testing in Urdu. And actually all of our concepts that we tested with users were done in Urdu. So we actually did not test the app in English. Adam is going to speak to this, so we're going to save it's like a reveal of our position on language use in the smartphone app, so it's coming. But just in the research phase, to be very clear that everything was conducted and done in Urdu. And we have a point of view about how language should be addressed in a smartphone app here in Pakistan. So stay tuned for that, don't leave. In terms of defining onboarding, so from our perspective, and Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, from our perspective, kind of the first step is going to be the registration, so actually like registering for an account. We actually didn't touch that. So we were really thinking about this app, once someone is registered, what is the first experience in the app, or with an agent for that matter, once they've already registered for the account. Onboarding can be that very first time they open the app. And you'll see, again, I think it'll be clear when we show the wireframes for the onboarding process and experience. I think it'll give you some more context. But for us, it was post-registration, pre-first transaction. And the authentication will be a part of that process as well. So authentication is kind of built into that. Onboarding for first-time use might have one set of experiences and interactions with the app. That onboarding process could happen every time you open the app, but the users will also have an option to close and exit that onboarding experience. So the reason that's important is that if you have someone that's already been using mobile money for some time, you'll see they don't necessarily need to go through this onboarding experience that we've designed, but it's there if and when any user wants to engage with it. Do you want to say anything else about defining onboarding?
My name is Harun and I am from HBL Branchless Banking. Thanks for sharing your comprehensive presentation. My question is regarding the mobile app. I mean, different players in Pakistan and banks, they are making and developing the mobile app. What has been done recently in India with the help of NPCI, National Payment of Corporation of India, they have developed a UPI, the Unified Payment Interface. Instead of making a number of 100 of mobile app on the mobile phone, what you think or what your research say about the UPI? Should we incorporate, because there are technology constraints almost, because the user experience, and the gateways and the payment module. So what your thoughts and your research say about this unified payment interface? Is it good for the country? Is it good for the people? Because mostly if you find the mobile app like Facebook and LinkedIn, they are having the same feature. The Kenya guy or the Pakistani or anyone can find. So they can share their ideas, they can share the word of mouth. But if I'm using a different app and you are using the different app, so I think that would be the hindrance, or you can say it's a good idea to make a unified payment interface.
Thank you.
The stack that they're looking at and using is something that we're definitely exploring as a country. We wouldn't necessarily link it up to the design element that we're trying to present here, but we definitely have a meeting. Actually, I'm going to DC the day after tomorrow to meet with the India team to explore NPCI, the India stack, what they're doing, how they're doing it, how it's getting structured, what can we learn from there, because there are not many institutions in the world that have implemented a unified national payment gateway. India is one of them, Peru is another one, and Jordan. So it's fairly limited, but it's definitely on the books. It's something that we're exploring. And we're going to try and pick up the best practices from the three markets that I mentioned and try and bring them together. This will be a bigger part of the national payment gateway that the State Bank of Pakistan is trying to implement. And we're trying to partner with them on this to see how we can support this. So it's definitely on the books, and we will keep you posted on how this comes together.
Thanks, Imran. So we can always talk during the break, I promise.
Hi, my name is Wasim. I work for Bank Alfala. I manage mobile app. And we have recently launched a mobile app 3 months ago. So far, we have 100,000 downloads and 40,000 customers subscribed who have successfely onboarded themselves.
How many of them are using it regularly?
So 33,000 have logged in. Out of 40,000, 33,000 have logged in. So
once or multiple times?
More than one time. So my question to you is that...
I'm not picking on you, I'm just being funny.
It's okay. So in Pakistan, we have 95% of smartphones either Android or iOS.
Yes.
So I'm sure, are you guys touching on the UX, the user experience differences between Android and iOS? Because, the experience of an iOS customer and Android is completely different.
Totally.
So
I literally can't use an Android
so the
phone.
So are the wireframes going to be for Android and iOS specific, or is it going to be only one?
So even though Adam and I are both happy iPhone users, we've designed everything for Android because that is the vast majority of your users here in Pakistan. I know some of you in this room have iPhones, but you guys are special.
But
most of your customers.
But 28% in Pakistan are using iOS out of smartphone.
That's growing for sure.
Yeah.
So because our project was also intended for like mass market, lower income, lower literate, those individuals are usually accessing cheaper phones, less expensive phones, which exclusively are Android. So the first set of wireframes are absolutely designed for Android. That's what we actually tested on. It's what we did all the designs for. It's not to say that this couldn't be adapted very easily for iPhone as well. Because again, we didn't do the development of the app, so that hasn't happened. This is just the wireframes and the recommendations, which can absolutely be applied to iPhones as well, iOS.
Okay.
But very important point. Thank you for raising it. All right, my friend, how are you? Good to see you. Tell everyone who you are and what your great question
Thank you
is.
for inviting us for this session and sharing all these insights. My name is Hassan, by the way. I'm looking after wallets at MobileLink. As we discussed a bit earlier regarding onboarding, so I'm not going to talk about the download, but the first time experience that the customer is going to have. So unlike the USSD, the app, so the USSD is very, very secure unless and until the customer has a SIM in his phone. Money can't be stolen. The PIN is known by someone. So the app obviously needs to be very secure. So the first time onboarding process needs to be have some security processes in place, which are not just secure, they are user friendly as well.
Totally.
I'm going to cover that. My question is that.
And are you talking about registration in the app, or once they're
So
registered?
we're talking about the first time login.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously that first time login or the subsequent logins need to be secure. Is it recommended to set up a separate password? Is it recommended to set up a 2FA like the banks do? They send one code to the email address, one code to the SMS. Our customers are not that part of the segment who have email addresses or they have access to their email addresses instantly, unlike banks. So they can easily afford to implement that rule on their customers. We can't afford to do that.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately. Do you recommend beneficiary management in the app, or do you recommend transactions without beneficiary management? And what sort of timeouts do you recommend, which are not just obviously you need to, it's a financial app, so you need to have a timeout for security purposes. What sort of timeouts do you recommend? So these are the sort of things that we're interested in knowing.
Beautiful. So we have points of view on many of those things. We also have industry trends from other mobile money apps in other countries that we can share. I don't know that Adam's going to talk about that today. So why don't we, I know we're talking this afternoon, I think. So why don't we put that on our agenda to talk this afternoon? And if anyone else is interested, feel free to raise it. We had to be very selective because we don't have all day. So we had to be very selective in what we're going to show you today. So we're not going to show you our points of view on that, but we can certainly discuss it and share ideas.
Yeah, I think we'll focus on sharing designs that we were able to test with users and sort of have perspectives and rationale based on our user insights. Things that are wrapped up in more business logic, we shied away from a bit, or you won't see that until you get the toolkit that gets into the more granular flows.
Yeah. But two-factor authentication was a big thing that we talked about internally. So when we do have timeout, we have perspectives. We think that that also requires more testing with different types of users. So we can talk about that this afternoon.
After someone has downloaded the app, so we weren't looking at how do we encourage people to register and download the app, but once they've downloaded it, how do we create some screens to help people actually understand all the different features, all the different values that the app provides? And then once they're using the app for the first time, how do we make that a very easy experience? So not focused on how do we get people to sign up, but how do we make the first time use very easy?
Unmute yourself if you can. Go ahead, yeah? Do you want to clarify something on onboarding? Yeah, absolutely.